Hi, my name's Molly Danielson. I'm here again with head coach Josh Davis. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm excited that we get to see each other every week to talk about sport. But I just want to talk about the last two games, two first conference games. Rough start a little bit, but really competitive play. Can you dive in a little bit and talk about Willamette first?
Yes, our Willamette match, we just had a lot of nerves, a lot of jitters to get out. We came into the match. Gosh, that match seems like so long ago. It was just last week. I think we came into the match and we were confident that we could win. But once the match got going, we saw some open spots when we were watching film as far as off-speed shots, and unfortunately that just got into our head. We started trying to use off-speed shots opposed to come out swinging, getting on their heels. So I think that was like where it started as kind of a rough patch, and then we just weren't, unfortunately, able to recover. So going into George Fox, and even this week, we knew that we started to take more risks, kind of a high-risk, high-reward type mentality. And so we took that into Saturday, and it started off not that way, but then especially towards that third set, I think it came along, and we're just trying to build momentum every day in practice and matches, and so we're getting there.
Nice. So you already talked a little bit about George Fox on Saturday, which was a really exciting game. I mean, that third set, was it 23-25? It was right there at the end. So tell me about how you think the gals switched their mentality. In that first match, they were kind of close and they just kind of lost the morale, and then they really picked it back up. What do you think was that spark?
We just told them in the timeouts that we needed them to swing. We wanted them to swing and not worry so much about the mistakes. One thing, as we've been kind of talking as a team, is they really do play for each other and respect one another to the point to where they're almost afraid to make a mistake for each other. And so what we talked about is just going out and playing aggressively for one another, not being afraid to make those mistakes, because the end result is going to be worth it in the end. And that if you do make a mistake, we're here as a team to support one another and not guilt someone. Yeah. So I think that mentality really helped, and we really did see that pay off. And we just had a couple points here or there that got away from us, and that was ultimately the end result. But I think we saw the benefit of that as far as our kills in the set, and the set being so close and competitive. We definitely saw those benefits of taking those risks for one another. So that's the mentality we're using going into this week too.
Nice. And I was looking at some of the stats, and the kills are more spread out through this year than last year, which is really exciting to see, I think. How are you feeling about your freshman players? You have your libero and you have your two setters are freshman positions. Can you talk a little bit about that and how they're really providing for the team?
Yeah, I mean, libero for Maya, she just keeps everything alive. Yeah. She just digs balls like crazy, and so I think as the season goes on, she'll lead the conference in digs. So that's the hope. Yeah. But then as the setters, it's working with them and getting them to learn the speed of the game and kind of the decision-making that goes into college volleyball. And so we started watching film weekly with them so that they can understand where they're doing good things and then where the areas that we can have different decisions. So we saw that in the third set where they were making some good decisions, and I think that's just going to keep growing as the year progresses. Yeah,
that's awesome. So taking these two losses, which are also lessons, right? Yes. No. How are you looking forward for these next two games? I believe Lewis and Clark and PLU. How are you practicing this week and preparing for these competitions?
Yeah, I think what we learned against George Fox about taking those risks is really going to help pay off against Lewis and Clark, because we match up pretty well, I guess, as far as our height versus their height. So that's really going to help us hopefully take those risks at the net, and we'll see those pay off. And against PLU, we've played teams like them at the beginning of the season, so we know what it's like to go toe-to-toe with them. And I think when we use the lessons that we've learned from our previous conference matches and then the non-conference matches, I think both of those will come together and be at play against PLU.
Yeah, I'm really excited because PLU were conference champs last year, right?
They were.
Yeah, so, I mean, you guys are underdogs, and I love it because that means you have way more force and more people are on your side. So aside from that, last thing I want to talk about is how did you feel about all the fans at the game? From last season, the gym was full. How did you feel about that? I think the momentum really helped the team. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they really did like it. I think in the first set, they were a little bit nervous to perform too well for the crowd. And so what I told them is I was like, hey, we appreciate our fans, but we almost have to have tunnel vision when we're on that court and use that energy to pump us up. But in the moments when it might not be there, we still have to use what we do every day in practice and the lessons we learn to push forward through those tough moments. But as a coach, sometimes you almost, like, I get tunnel vision, so I almost don't even notice how loud the crowd is sometimes because you're so focused. But it is definitely nice to see that support, and I think when we start having recruits on campus, they can see that, how we're supported and things like that. So that always helps in building the program.
Totally. I was excited. I saw the guys without their shirts on painted cats on their chest. That's what I was excited about. But thanks for meeting with me today. I'm super excited for Saturday. That's going to be another home game for us, right? And so thank you again, Josh, and I hope you have a great week and good luck.
Yes, thank you. It's Aloha night, so.
Aloha!